Hello, people. Another beautiful day, or evening, or night. Yep. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. What? What's up? What's up, Twigtown? What's up, gamers? Listen to this. Got a nice little article here from Twigtown. Google named as second main opponent of Microsoft Activision merger. Opponent. First opponent is Sony, who likes to cry and complain a lot. And then there's and now it's Google. All right. Remember, I told you that Activision Blizzard was up for grabs, and that Nintendo could have gotten Activision Blizzard, Sony, Tencent, Take-Two, Amazon, Google. Of course, there's Microsoft. Okay. Anyway, listen to this. Microsoft has named both Google and Sony Interactive Entertainment as the main oppositionary forces against the $68.7 billion Microsoft Activision merger. Says here, Google has been named as the second major company that opposes Microsoft Activision merger. Says here, Sony isn't the only one to push back against the proposed $68.7 billion merger between Activision and Microsoft. Multiple companies have told the CMA that the merger could seriously harm competition. Google, a company that currently doesn't make games but managed to generate billions of dollars in royalties from F2P mobile games on the Play Store, has been identified as one of the principal antagonists of the video game industry's largest ever deal. But now we know why they're mad, because Microsoft beat them to it. But anyway, Google was directly mentioned in page 337 of the CMA final decision report, which reads, further, Microsoft submit that the two key complaints against the deal is SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Google have many reasons to preserve the status quo or undermine the merger in order to extract higher profits to the detriment of game developers and gamers. Remember, there were companies complaining against Sony complaining about Sony and how they were being mistreated. Says here, furthermore, Microsoft submitted that the two key complaints against the deal, SIE and Google, have many reasons to preserve the status quo or undermine the merger in order to extract higher profits to the detriment of game developers and gamers. Okay, and then it says it has submitted that on this basis, the Microsoft Cloud remedy protection competition in a way that prohibition will not. Microsoft submitted that through prohibition, the CMA is ensuring the ongoing success of entrenched competitors who have no incentive to expand competition. Anyway, let me keep going here. It says, what's interesting is that Google actually has interesting and relevant things to say about the merger, especially as it relates to the cloud market. Google is the only company to have failed in cloud gaming space. The tech giant closed down Stadia, its game streaming service, in January of this year. Stadia last for three years and tried to create a niche in the widely controversial buy-to-play cloud business model, which requires consumers to purchase a full-price game on Stadia, built-in storefront, and exclusively stream the game via Stadia. Right now, there are only a few valid cloud gaming business models, including bring your own game BYOG service like Nvidia GeForce Now, or Boosteroid, which require gamers to buy a game on Steam or other storefronts in order to stream, with the added benefits of being able to download and play these games locally. It says the other valid cloud gaming business model is including streaming as a part of a multi-game subscription like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. In this model, consumers do not have to buy games individually and instead pay a monthly fee to access a pool of games that are available for streaming. Then it says here that the fact that Google failed to not only penetrate the cloud gaming segment, but also failed to failed to innovate with a buy-to-play storefront model gives the company a unique perspective in these talks and has garnered a certain level of attention from the CMA, who has postulated that the Microsoft Activision merger could effectively stifle any future innovation on such a buy-to-play model from taking place, given the power of the Activision IP on the cloud segment. Then it says here, last two paragraphs here, it says here, the CMA essentially believed that Microsoft would use Activision IP to further solidify BYOG and MGS as the only viable solution and potentially push out any opportunity for other business models. As it stands, the buy-to-play model used in Stadia just isn't a good fit for cloud gaming due to latency issues and the fact that purchased games do not transfer over to any other storefronts or platforms. However, this could change in some regards in the future. Last paragraph here. Let me get this out the way here real quick. says here, trends indicate that it is unlikely that buy-to-play will take a foothold in cloud gaming segment, but neither the CMA or anyone else can predict what could happen in the future. For instance, no one saw the incredible value of Xbox Game Pass coming on the horizon, and that value-oriented business model has significantly transformed the video game industry. It sure did. And that's the end of the article. What's up, Tweakdown? So Google and Sony are mad at Microsoft because Microsoft beat them to the punch, like I've been saying. Look, Microsoft came into video games the right way. What I mean is this: they were already making and publishing games in the PC market, right? But then when it came to console now, Sega gave them the keys to the kingdom. Meaning, this is the Dreamcast, right? And when you buy a Dreamcast, if you look on the side of the box, it said powered by Windows CE, right? Okay. And then Sega now passed it on to Microsoft with the Xbox, right? And when Microsoft came into the game industry, they came in with a console and their own games. This game was a RTS over at Apple, but then Microsoft got Bungie, and Bungie turned that RTS into one of the best first-person shooters ever made, Halo. So Microsoft came into the door with this console, the original Xbox, 733 megahertz, and Halo, right? Now, Microsoft when they came in with Xbox, then when Halo 2 came out, Xbox Live came into the picture. Then there's the 360. Then there's Xbox One. Then there's Game Pass. And then there's xCloud. And then you got the Series X and S. Microsoft came into the game industry the right way. Google now, they missed a step. The reason why their Stadia failed is this. Most people were like, why would I do Google Stadia? Most people in the video game in video games were like, okay, why would I go with Stadia when there's Xbox Game Pass to deal with? Google, on the other hand, now they didn't come into the industry with their own games and their own console. They didn't start from the bottom like how Microsoft is and build their way up. They came in with a subscription service that already had games that were on Game Pass or Xbox Live or PlayStation. So you come in with your own subscription service, you're gonna have a hard time trying to compete with the likes of Microsoft because they built up from the ground up, and then they have a user base behind it. They missed a step, and then you're not bringing in fresh games to the service like how Microsoft is with Xbox Live and Game Pass. That's the one of the main reasons why the Stadia failed. Microsoft came through the door with an Xbox. In this game, they were already making games on PC, flight simulators and all that. But when it came to console, they came in with this. Sega passed the torch to them. They got Bungie, and they came through the door with this and a bunch of games. The original Xbox and Halo. Okay? And then they took off from there. And they kept working. They came out with the Xbox Live, 360, Xbox One, Game Pass, xCloud, and they just kept building. Google didn't do it like that. So people that were buying Game Pass and that can already play the games that the Stadia have, they were like, why would I go mess with the Stadia when I got Xbox Live and Game Pass to deal with? And that's the problem that's wrong with the Stadia. So they missed a lot of steps in the process. Microsoft did it the right way. Okay? And Microsoft with Game Pass and cloud gaming would succeed because why? They have a user base. They have a user base behind it. Okay? When it comes to Activision Blizzard now, Microsoft beat Sony and Google and Amazon to it. While everybody was sitting there reporting about Activision Blizzard and the problems they were having, Microsoft is like, okay, Activision problems will become our problems. We're going to absorb it and purchase Activision and remove the problem that's happening and then go on from there. That's what Sony's mad about. Sony got the Call of Duty contract, and they didn't and they didn't even take initiative or call up Activision Blizzard, be like, is there anything we can do? Can we help you? Like Phil Spencer said, it's not what they can do for us, it's how can we help you. Sony didn't do that, and Google with the Stadia, $1 billion company, didn't do it. Microsoft now, they saw an opportunity and they went straight for it by purchasing Activision Blizzard, removing the problems that was creating a big scene in the game industry, and went on from there. So Sony and Google are mad at Microsoft, but Microsoft has did right, because when it comes to cloud gaming now, the reason why Microsoft will succeed at this when it comes to cloud gaming is because, one, they built up, they do have Windows. I mean, Xbox is running off the Windows network. They got the Windows network, but they built a foundation in the video game industry with the original Xbox and Halo. So those users that are on Xbox, they're looking forward to the cloud gaming. So Microsoft did right. They followed the steps to success with xCloud. And Google, they don't have a foundation. They just came in with Stadia, and then thinking that was it. And they think, okay, if we offer some third-party games, that would help. Nah, they don't have a foundation, so that's why they failed. They didn't have their own game, got their own games, like their own exclusive games to the Stadia to generate interest. Went down, so yeah. But for them to be complaining, it's unnecessary. Microsoft beat everybody to punch when it comes to Activision Blizzard. Sony Sony should have been the first to check on Activision Blizzard to see what was really going on with them. Show some signs of interest. Call them up, like, what can we help you guys? Anything we can do? Anything we can assist you with? Don't just sit there thinking like, oh, it's all about Call of Duty. No, the gaming industry is bigger than Call of Duty. People are more important, so they should have called Activision and checked on them. But once they didn't act like they didn't care, and the people were reporting on Activision Blizzard like it was a joke or something, Microsoft's like, okay, we're going to absorb Activision. Their problem will become ours. Swoop in. Done. Okay, so yeah. When it comes to Game Pass, Microsoft, ZeniMax Bethesda agreed. They purchased ZeniMax Bethesda for $7.5 billion. Took him 3 years for the deal to be completed. But once the deal was complete, Game Pass is on the horizon. like Phil Spencer said, Sony and Nintendo is not our competitors. It's not our competitors. That means they looked down that road and seen who the competitors were. And as soon as Activision Blizzard popped up on the radar, and they're like, oh, okay, you got the Call of Duty contract. Okay, you don't own Activision Blizzard. Okay, there's Google with big pockets. They can get Activision Blizzard. Okay, there's Amazon. Okay, there's Tencent. Okay, there's Take-Two. Any one of these companies, there's Nvidia. There's any one of these companies can get Activision Blizzard. They saw what it's like Microsoft is saying. It's like they see what we see, so we're gonna beat them to it. Done. So yeah, Activision, Microsoft purchased them, man. So Google, they didn't come through the game industry like how Microsoft did it, or like how Valve do it. One of the reasons why Valve is successful with the Steam Deck right now is because they tried to come out with their own Steam machine. I think it was a Steam machine, Steam Link. They was always into video games. Of course, they had Dota, Half-Life, Orange Box, Left 4 Dead, Portal. They had their Counter-Strike. They had their own games, But now they needed something physical, and that's where the Steam Deck comes in. So that's why they're so successful right now, because they built a foundation already. They just needed something physical, and it was a Steam Deck. So that's why they're doing so good right now. But besides that, but other than that though, Google, they didn't do video games the right way. They didn't come into video games the right way by starting from the bottom and working their way up. They try to come in with a subscription service, and then try to take third-party games like Destiny and say Anthem or Call of Duty or whatever, and then that's it. But Microsoft did it the right way, So yeah. And when it comes to Activision Blizzard was up for grabs, and Microsoft seized it. They had 98% of the shareholders, 75% of the public, and the employees is behind the deal. Okay, and then you got countries that's supporting this, which are governments, and then you got 3 other countries that joined the main 4. The main 4 was what? Serbia, Saudi Arabia, Chile, and Brazil. But now you got Ukraine, you got South Africa and Japan. So yeah, they beat Sony to this, man. Sony has leads Microsoft like 70 to 30, and Japan is like 96 or 96 to 4 or 94 to 6. So Microsoft did it right here. Microsoft had it when it comes to cloud gaming. I would say Microsoft has an infrastructure in place to do this. I mean, to do cloud gaming, and uh, and then they have a user base, and then carry on from there. So yeah, but they beat Sony to this, man. You know? I'm sure like a lot of gamers would like the cloud gaming idea, but then there's some gamers that like physical games too. So yeah, but other than that, man, Microsoft did right on this. It's just that they're getting pushback from Sony and Google. And Sony and Google is mad that Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard. But hey, first come, first serve. Yeah. So yeah, but other than that, man, this case is not over. There's more situations supposed to come out, more news supposed to come out of this. More countries will probably join this. Right now, there's 7. There's probably more on the way. So yeah, probably more people probably throw support behind Microsoft on this. And just because the CMA supposedly blocked the deal, that don't mean the case is over. This is gonna be a battle, man. So yeah, when it comes to Game Pass, man, Microsoft did it right. Yeah. They took the steps and they found success with it. Now it's on to cloud gaming, So yeah, but we'll see what comes out of this when more news come up here. But this is far from over. The FTC got a decision to make. The FTC and the CMA, they are they try to use Nintendo in the whole situation. About Call of Duty can't Call of Duty on the Switch. So, and they have a decision to make too. So we will see where this goes from here. But cloud gaming is the future of gaming, and Microsoft beat everybody to the punch, and they kept the game industry moving. So yeah, the game industry is moving, man. So yeah, we'll see what else is, what other news come out of this, and who else will join this little situation that's exploding into a bigger situation. Anyway, leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing, or Dark Side. Go. Peace.